Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for making time. I'm very, very excited for you. I'm very, very excited by you. Like,
Thank you.
I saw you do a real thing in life. You know what I mean?
A real thing.
That's a real thing of your own creation.
Thank you.
You know what I mean? Your own hard work, your own dedication and discipline and creativity and tenacity and personal style. Everybody doesn't do that. Everybody doesn't contribute that thing to the world.
Got it.
You know? It's really, really awesome
Thank you.
seeing you do that. How long have you been into fashion? Let's start there.
I've been into fashion for a long time, unconsciously,
Okay.
right? Not conscious. I've been doing it for a long time since my daughter was about 4 years old.
Okay.
And I guess I can say that is when I started caring about what I wore, right?
Yeah.
So I'll say that's when
Yeah.
the fashion started.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting, right? Caring is a very specific word.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's something about fashion and personal style that fascinates me so much, in that personal style is in everything that we do, right? It's in everything. Now, there are certain things we care about more,
Right.
but whatever my personal style is, it shows up in everything I do.
Right.
Like the way I talk, the way I walk, the way I dance, the way I dress, the way I apologize, the way, like everything, I have a style in which I do that thing.
Yep.
And we're also just surrounded by so much pressure and influence to abandon our personal style and be digestible and palatable and appropriate for the room. You know what I mean? In a lot of ways, we're pressured to just be small and dim for the sake of the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm curious for you because I know that prior to fashion, you were aware from an early age that you are not just another person in the room. You know what I mean? Like, being as tall as you are, meant that certain things you were just you were the one of one in a lot of rooms for something that wasn't an expression of yours.
Right.
It was just your you know what I mean, your body, your height. You don't get to pack a travel version of it.
Yeah.
You're gonna be this every room, every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? What do you appreciate most about your peculiarness and your personal style and like the one of one that is Jackie? Or what are some of the things, I should say? Maybe not a ultimate.
I think some more I respect myself in the fact that knowing that my height alone caused me to stand out in a room, but how did I digest that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I wasn't comfortable.
Right.
Right? So I think gradually as I grew into my personal style, I did have to adjust to society and the environment. So I'll go back to say how, right?
Yeah.
I'm tall.
Yeah.
My pants were never long enough.
Right.
So now what would I do? What did I do? I found a way around it so that I can still be me,
Yeah.
but still not stand out to say, oh, she's a tall girl with high waters on.
Right.
So, I resorted to classical looks, dresses, skirts, knickerbockers, if anybody knows what that is.
Right. Yeah.
I and all of that stuff came about because of my aunt who raised me, right? She was a seamstress. So
Okay.
she made clothes. So
Yeah.
she gave me the names of different types of
Yeah.
gauchos, wild leg short pants. So I think I gradually grew into that because I felt like I had no choice because I didn't want to stand out, quote unquote, in a negative way.
Yeah.
The girl
Yeah.
with high waters on.
Right.
So I made the dress the best dress there was, right? I would accessorize it. It could be a simple dress, but I'm
Right.
gonna accessorize it. So I'm gonna take the fact off of Jackie always wears dresses, but what she does,
Yeah.
she looks amazing.
That's a Jackie moment. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that's how I stood out the most, is that I would definitely just take a basic dress or skirt and make it mine by accessorizing it.
Yeah. So that makes me think of something else that I have a personal appreciation for. It's like when you are introduced to the idea of bespoke, then you can no longer ever be inappropriate or the wrong. You can't be the wrong size. You can't be the, you know what I mean? Like it's supposed to fit you and you alone.
Right.
You know, so, and you can have things that are for you and you alone. You know what I mean? And I think it's something that it's been presented as a luxury. It shouldn't really be a luxury. It should be the standard for everybody. Like everybody should be able to access a thing that's for them.
Okay.
Whether it's their height, shape, style, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, it's like you should be able to access it.
You should be. Yeah, you know? Definitely.
And that just doesn't work along with like commercialism and you know, all of that. But it should be accessible for everybody.
It definitely should. I think you have a point there. It definitely should be accessible. And sometimes we can zone in on things or hone in on things that should be yours by nature.
Right.
And make it accessible now. Now I'm the one with the stuff.
Right.
So you have no choice but to come to me when that's personally what I feel about, you know, with the designing and everything for tall women. I feel like that should have been something I was afforded. I should have been given that luxury as a young child, all the way up to an adult.
Yeah, I think about different brands that have come along and for whatever reason, or for whatever reasons, like something to come along and it'd be like, what was the brand for this prior? Like, what was the Fashion Nova, for example? What was the brand for curvy women, shapely women? Not curvy shapely women that really like accentuated and was cut for shape and not for mannequin.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know, I can't think of a brand before that, you know what I mean? And that just doesn't seem to make sense. Like
it does, and I do that often too. I always go to what was before, right? When something's taken precedence, like wow, Fashion Nova for an example, you can't unsee it, like they say, right? To even go back and say, hey, what took the place? Because it wasn't just one place, right? Fashion Nova, you can go in there and say, I want the whole outfit she got on with no creativity, no personality. Whereas before, you had to search for it. Right? Just like as you have to search inside for your own personal style, you have to go, I can't get everything from me personally from one store. Right. I have to search. And that's what it was. It wasn't convenient, but it took the inner creativity in you to search for what it is that you want. Fashion Nova, you can get everything from Fashion Nova. So it takes away a lot of the creativity. So that's why we probably can't even think, what was here before? Right.
Yeah. Do you have any favorite fashion moments like in your lifetime, like certain when this was in style or when this thing was introduced, or you know what I mean?
So I have any fashion moments? I can't think of any in particular.
Not even necessarily like the moment where Jay-Z switched guys over from jerseys to button-down shirts.
Okay.
I just thought that was such a dope thing to happen. To see happen by one guy, like largely, one guy shifted it, and it wasn't like shirts were better.
Okay.
Because everybody went from looking the same in football jerseys and basketball jerseys to looking the same in button downs. Like at the moment that it happened, it was just this blanket switch over. But because it was new, there was some resistance and there was some guys who weren't into it, and it was like, this is a moment. I get to point to this time in history, like that was a moment. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
Like, I got to see people stop looking all alike. And that's just a favorite moment of mine. You know what I mean? Or like when women really started to appreciate what Sex and the City was doing fashion-wise.
Absolutely.
It was just like, man, you can have sensibilities for stuff that you can't afford.
Exactly.
Like, don't be robbed of the sensibility. Don't be robbed of the taste. Don't be robbed of the style. You can have all of that, even if you can't afford the name.
Yep.
You know?
Sure can. I mean, and then you take me back when you mentioned you're specific about the timing. I do have something when women started wearing menswear.
Yeah.
And it was acceptable.
Yeah, bigger watches,
Right?
clothes. Yeah,
exactly. So imagine me coming from dresses and skirts.
Right.
That's all I wore. People
Right.
thought that I didn't believe in pants. That's how it was. But when women started wearing, like you said, they'll button their shirt all the way up to the top.
Yep.
A tuxedo blazer, tuxedo pants, and a sexy pump, right? It takes you somewhere.
Yep.
It takes you here, and you're here, then you're there. It's like three different focal points, and I think that was a turn in my and also in my fashion, in my style as I got older.
Right.
I did a lot of the conservative, chic look.
Yeah.
So I think that was a turn when it became more acceptable and women started being okay with wearing their shirt button all the way up to the top, collar shirt with a blazer, and maybe some baggy men pants, like we'll wear a whole men's suit if you can rock it, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that was a turning point too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember I used to work in the mailroom at this corporation back in the day, and I remember this woman. I don't remember her name now, but she was a Jamaican woman. She was tall, a little older, but she was like very spirited, and she had her own style. Like, she was one of the first women I saw wear big watches. You know what I mean? Like men's watches, masculine designed watches. And because she was so powerful just in her own stature and posture and demeanor, nothing felt like it was out of pocket on her. You know what I mean? And it was just like a really interesting visual for me, because it was just like seeing somebody take charge of their own and sit in the pocket of their own power. Even in that way, like, obviously, I mean, she was a lawyer and she was brilliant and she was all these other powerful things, but this little nuanced thing,
right?
I loved it so much because it was like, I know you're doing it for you. You know what I mean? I know you're doing it because it delights you. Right. Whether or not anybody else gets it to compliment it or not, if they understand it or don't understand it, if they give you applause or not, you delighted yourself in this way. That's awesome.
That's what it's about.
Yeah.
That's really, I'm going to be honest, that's what, if you want to call it fashion, is really about. Yeah. When you can start taking your focus off of how are they going to receive this to how did I feel when I put it on. Yeah. That's what it's really about. Yep. And when you know your go-to, what you do as a person, your personal style will be consistent. Right. People know, like you said, you knew big watches was her thing. People know this is that person's thing. Yep. So that person is delighted when they put that on. Yep. Absolutely. And it's like and if they do try something different, let's say they want to do something different, they want to try it out, I'm quite sure they'll be delighted at that time as well. However, we definitely in fashion, it comes across better when we're happy and we feel good. With what we're putting on. Definitely.
For sure. There's a subject that I'm incredibly fascinated by and curious about, and I probably will never exhaust the conversation. And the subject is women's clothes, right? And how women move through life in their clothes, and how me as a man, I have no point of reference for some of the experiences that you have every day in your clothes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't wear form-fitted anything. I don't have any reason to. Like, I just... Exactly. Ever. You don't. You know what I mean? Like, everything of mine is built for more comfort than everything of yours is built for.
Absolutely.
You know, like comfort is such an afterthought for women's clothes, or you have to find comfort in the discomfort. You know, like, oh, these are my most comfortable pumps.
Right.
They're not actually comfortable, but compared to the other ones, those ones are the most comfortable. So yeah, so they win. You know what I mean? And like, I think it's so bugged out how I don't think it's talked about, or at least I don't hear it a lot. But I don't think it's talked about so that we have this understanding of each other's experiences. You know what I mean? Like, men historically have dictated what a woman's presentation is. Like, men designed, like, suits come from military, right? And women's clothes come from suits. Like, when women through like suffragette movements and whatnot started, like when the clothes started to switch from just dresses and gowns and, you know, like to like women's suits,
right, and
women's pants and women's shoes started to look more masculine and have more dimension, it was still through the lens of a man's eye. You know what I mean? Wow. And like the cut of it, more than, I don't know if it's more than anything, but the cut of it I think is so bugged out because it's like men have received so many things for our comfort that we absolutely abandoned when we were designing it for women. You know what I mean?
I never thought of that.
Like,
but that's so true.
Yeah, I think so.
True.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, and I'll be honest with you, like, you know, because even I was an example. I went to drop off a gown I had to a cleaners in Montclair yesterday. And I was looking at it because I Googled it. I knew I wanted the best care for this gown. It's silk and I got oil on it or what have you. So I went inside and the name was like, wasn't like good dry cleaners. It was like a name, Mosenberg and
yeah.
And I'm like, wow, to me that was like, that's this person's going to do good.
Right.
And when I went in there, all men. No women. No women. All men. And they were behind sewing machines. Yeah. And they were doing alterations. Right. So one guy came up to me and, you know, he greeted me. Awesome customer service. And, you know, all the guys came over complimenting the gown, going through the detail and everything. And just naming stuff. Right. Oh, my God, I got it. This stitching. And I'm like, wow, they know their stuff. Right. So that brings me back to what you're stating. A lot of our wear did come from men back in the day. Right? And so why would they make it comfortable for us? Right. This is how I want you to look. And I want you to look like that no matter what you have to do. Right. So think about when women... Right. Now, women would make the clothes, but a man may have come up with the idea of what they wanted to look like. Yep. When women wore the corset that had back in the day, when they had to be pulled, put your foot on it and pull it tight. Bones breaking, right? Yeah.
Or made out of bones, like made out of animal bones.
Why? For the silhouette that a man found enticing.
Yeah, and then an extreme silhouette. Yes. Like, it wasn't a female form. It wasn't the feminine form. It was a extreme exaggeration of it.
It was exaggerated.
You know?
It was exaggerated. So now I have to try to fit this whole aura of what the man said, but now is what fashion says. Right. But think about it. Where does it come from? Right. It's all derived from all of that at the same time. However, you know, even with like you said, fitted clothes, I've personally decided to get away from fitted clothes. Like I'm ready to throw on a caftan in a moment, but still dress it up, because you know, comfort has become a part of who I am. I love to be comfortable, you know, and I think as we grow and we mature in our fashion, we find ways to still be fashionably in ourselves, but not so tight, short. All that other good stuff.
Right.
But yeah,
there's so many other sandboxes to play in. Like, you don't have to play in the tight short often.
Not at all.
You can have a moment, But you don't have to play that all the time.
And I love that when you really get into your creativity and your fashion, it's like so many ways to express yourself without the short and the tight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you have any like pet peeves? Do you have any like things that just grind your gears whenever you see somebody? Like wedge heels are always gonna make my blood curdle.
You see me pulling my collar.
Hate them. Yeah. Yeah, I hate them.
We won't be fake. I had them back in the day when they came out.
Yeah.
But I grew out of them.
Mm-hmm.
Pet peeves of mine. Well, I think it has to start with a foundation of you're a lady.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to talk with women.
Copy.
You're a lady. Like Lynette and I tell the models all the time, a requirement of the modeling industry is for you to be well groomed. So, pet peeve of mine is you look really beautiful, but I can tell you're not well groomed.
Right.
So I'll talk about the ashy ankles, the ashy elbows.
Yeah.
But I think that's just a pet peeve of mine. So I really can't I won't go into an outfit and say, oh, I cringe because that may be someone finding themselves.
Right.
Finding their style.
Right.
Many reasons for it.
Right.
But I think being well groomed.
Yeah.
Under all of that is your foundation. That must come first. So that is a pet peeve of mine.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a good one because grooming is never. You can explore in your fashion, in your accessorizing, and the cuts and the colors and all of that. Ashy was never an experiment.
Ooh.
You just fucked up. Like you just neglected. That's all that's ever been.
Imagine me dressing models. Somebody bring the Vaseline.
Right.
Someone give me your feet. I'm rubbing feet. This has to be illuminated because I'm gonna be honest. You know, now you always used to say, in high school and even after, I would say sometimes because women will talk and we'll talk to each other and we'll see a person and we'll say, why does she do that? Why does she keep doing? And we'll say it's going to take a man to tell her for her to get it. Because coming from another woman, some cases it's like, oh, you're hating or oh, you don't like me anyway. No, some things have to be told by a man, and that goes back to what you're saying for women to go with an attitude, oh, he might have a point, right? So you could be beautiful, but if you're not well groomed, that's going to stand out. And sometimes a man's going to have to let you know, listen, sis, put some lotion on your ankles.
Right.
So that's definitely a pet peeve of mine, for sure, not being well groomed.
My friend has this we talk. He brings up. We talk about this often. Like, who do women dress for? Generally speaking, heterosexual women. Do you think they dress for women, dress for men, dress for themselves? Like, what do you think is like underneath all of everything else? Is like this. The creature that you are. Is guided and persuaded by these other, you know what I mean, relationships and whatnot. Like there's shit that's happening very, very subtly, but it's sexual energy. Right. So if it's sexual energy, then it's through a very specific lens. Right. You know what I mean? But what do you think?
I mean, being specific, I as we evolve as women and not always evolve into the positive side, but as we evolve, we dress for ourselves, 40%, 60% for others. Okay. Honestly. And you know, it sounds good to say, oh, I don't dress for anybody but myself. Right. Sounds good. Right. But I'm being honest. Right? Because you understand that attraction is not just for you to meet someone and date them or another relationship. Attraction I want to be attracted. I want to be attractive. Not for the purpose of you dating me, not for the purpose of you liking me, for the purpose of you seeing me. Right. Because I want to be seen. Right. Now, what is the extent you want to be seen? So I think that, honestly, we dress more for men than we do ourselves.
Yeah. I think it's hard to, generally speaking, to debate all of our interest in being seen as beautiful. That's, if you believe in divinity, there's a divinity to it. Like, you believe that God created beautiful things and you are one of them. You can't truly say, not you can't, it's highly unnatural for you to not have an interest in your own beauty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Very.
Like, and to be seen and received as beautiful. You know what I mean? So, like, I agree with you completely. I believe that people evolve and mature to a place where they do dress more for themselves than they used to. Do experiment for their delight, peacock for their delight, get into subtle nuances that only they can see. It takes a very skilled eye and to even see what you did. You know what I mean?
And I love that.
Yeah, like that stuff does come.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when someone can see that.
Yeah.
You know what you did.
Right.
And it's something you do all the time. But when someone can go and go, you know what? Did you?
I picked up. Yeah.
Did you?
Yep.
Yeah, I did.
Was that yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's a part of your a part
Yeah.
of you. And
Yeah.
I think even with dressing for yourself and someone else, no matter what, you're received as beautiful.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be that part of you that's a mystery. Either they get it or they don't get it.
Right. And I think that to a degree, significant degree, this is just art. And there is no such thing as art that's not intended to be observed.
Exactly.
All art is created with the intent to be observed by somebody else.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's all we're doing to a certain degree. That's what we're doing.
Right.
And so it's not like it's not like people, it's not as simple or extreme as people just trying to be consumed by others, validated by others. You know what I mean? Like, it's not necessarily that, but it's art.
We're all art,
Yeah.
I mean, definitely, we're all pieces of art.
Yep.
We're walking around. What have we done to our canvas?
Yeah.
Like, it's a blank. We're all blank canvases.
Yeah.
And we're beautiful even without it.
Right.
However, what have we done to our canvas? And in the eye of someone passing, have you illuminated your canvas or have you darkened it? Right. It's based on their perception. Right. But there's, like I said, there's always a foundation to the canvas. You have to take care of the canvas, build on top of what the beauty is already.
Yeah.
But yeah, fashion is sometimes a big mystery.
Yeah. Because you're art and artist.
You are.
You know what I mean?
Definitely. I mean, and Sex in the City is like I love that movie. Because you did ask me, when did you start your fashion? And unconsciously, I started a long time ago. My daughter said to me, maybe 4 years ago, she says, Mom, I'm done with college. Why don't you do what you want to do? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
I was like, I should become a stylist. Because everyone's always asks me, am I? And that's when I really started it 4 years ago. And then I walked into Lynette and I walked into her shop, was like, would you be my mentor? She was like, where your resume? I'm like, you gotta have a resume.
Right. To get a mentor? Yeah.
right? So, and so long story short, me and her have been rocking since then.
Yeah.
However, unconsciously years ago, when I did start caring about what I wore to work and wore to school, I started to notice that I was presenting more of who I was to the world.
Yep.
Right. I was finding myself at the same time. And every time I went and bought a pair of clothes, something new, it was a part of me discovering myself. Because I didn't really know who I was, And I started to discover myself through my clothes. And I started to present myself to the world through my clothes.
Yeah.
Right. And I started to speak because people always told me I'm a very reserved person. I don't talk a lot.
Okay.
But my clothes what I wore got me attention,
Yeah.
even if I didn't want it.
Yeah.
I would never say, Jackie, don't put this on today because
Right.
everybody gonna be looking at it. And
Right.
it's not necessarily a tight dress. It was just, I'm tall.
Yeah. You
These
you
slacks
stand out.
fit
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
You know, but this is gonna get me attention. Am I ready for it?
Right.
I am. I'm gonna let it talk for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not gonna, I'm not really a talkative person. But yeah.
Yeah, and I think that you can tell rather quickly if when somebody says something about what you're wearing or whatever your presentation is, like you can tell the sophistication of their eye and sensibility by how they compliment you and like what they choose to speak to. You know what I mean? Like, in a number of different ways. For one, there are people who are uncomfortable complimenting your being sexy, right? Because sexiness has been so very kind of bastardized as like just the last valuable rung on the ladder. It's like, you know what I mean? But in and of itself, it's not. It's not wrong. It's not cheap. It's not any of those things. It can be made to be those things, but in and of itself, it's not that.
It's
you know what I mean? And so when somebody speaks to I think this is why when a gay man compliments a woman as sexy, it's received so well because it's an observation, right? It's a compliment, but it's not a compliment for the sake of receiving something from you afterward. You know what I mean? Like it's not the objectification that heterosexual men have tended to approach women with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there is something to be said for sexiness. The same way there is something to be said for delicate nuance. The same way there's something to be said for boldness. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like all of these things have place. And if somebody can acknowledge your expression of it honestly and not like in a transactional way, it rings. Like it's valuable. It is a compliment. You know what I mean? Like some compliments don't get received as compliments because it wasn't really a compliment.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? You know?
Yeah, I think when you're getting dressed, it's like, oh, this is sexy, right?
Yeah.
So if someone says, hey, you're sexy,
right?
That's sexy, and you got to think about who did it come from.
Right.
Wait a minute.
Right.
But you knew that.
Right.
See, these are the things we say to ourselves when we're getting dressed. I'm casual. I'm chic. I'm still. This is sexy. I got a little flesh up here showing. You know. We know that. Yep. So when we get the compliment, it's thank you.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to be so much in my head to be like, well, who said it?
Yeah.
If a guy did say, you're sexy, that's something I already knew.
Right.
Because that's what I did that intentionally.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm a woman. I'm just sexy. Period, right? Because that's a part of who I am.
Right.
But we do, definitely internalize the compliments that come to us. To an extent to say, hey, keep going.
Yeah.
Or, oh, I don't like it. You start to learn more about yourself through compliments too. Because I've learned, even someone told me a long time ago, because when someone will compliment me, and I got a lot because I'm so tall and I stood out, right? I would say, oh, these old shoes. And someone said, don't do that.
Yeah.
Stop. Because I will always find some type of feedback.
Yep.
Right? Yep. Because I was not at a point in my life where I took a compliment.
Yeah.
To go, oh, I know.
Yeah.
Not in a vain way.
Right.
But just to say, I know because that's what I got dressed for this morning.
Yeah.
I made sure my shoes weren't scuffed up because someone's going to see them and they're going to think they're nice shoes.
Right.
I knew that already, right?
Right. One of my favorite moments, oh man, this tickled me so much. We were at the High Street Original launch. I was sitting next to Khalil, and you came over, and I was like, man, Jackie, you are stunning. And your response was, yeah, my launch is coming up next month.
I didn't hear that. That's why I'm like, oh, thank you. But I don't remember.
But after you walked away, me and Khalil laughed so much because it was like, because you completely just passed over that. But it was like, I'm a confident person, right? Khalil's a confident person. You're a confident person. So there was this shared understanding of, yeah, you are stunning. Like, you didn't become stunning because I said it. Mm-hmm. You are stunning. You know what I mean? You know that when you walked out the door. I know it when I see you. He knows it when he sees you. So it's not something to pause the room on.
Yeah, but I don't want to. I'm definitely not a rude person.
No,
I definitely want to thank you.
Yeah. It wasn't. Like it wasn't taken as rude, but it was comical how it was like.
Oh, she just looked right past that.
It's the truth, and
I appreciate.
We don't need to. We don't need to stop the presses. Like, yes, I am.
I appreciate that. I got so many people. We know why. I was like, it was a completely different me. I tried something different, a whole blonde wig, and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna do this tonight, you know.
Right.
But yeah, definitely appreciate that.
I was literally thrown off because I didn't know you were you at first. A lot of people didn't. I was like, I know that person. Who the fuck is she?
And I'm gonna be honest with you, because when I came up to you guys, you were looking at me weird.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's wrong? Why is he? But I looked right past it. Why you acting weird tonight? You don't want to talk to me?
No.
Because normally we're like, hey, what's up? And I have to remind myself, Jackie, you have a blonde wig.
Yeah.
People don't know who you are, probably.
Right.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, which is dope. To be able to, like, just one thing changes up.
I'm still growing.
Yeah.
I'm still growing, and it's all about what, of course, makes me happy.
Right.
What gives me a little razzle dazzle.
Right.
And then you think about, well, how is the world going to receive this?
Right.
Well, 90% of me says go for it.
Right.
10% of the world can do whatever they want to do. Right. And it's all about giving yourself pleasure. What makes you get up and move?
Yeah.
Right. What makes you? If fashion is what makes me get up and move, then that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think there's so much to be said for eliciting a response. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, there's so many people who step out and by the time they come home at the end of the night, nobody who they pass could tell you what shoes they had on, what was the color palette they were wearing, what was a featured piece that they had on, like, and not to their discredit, but there is something to be said. If you love what I'm wearing or if you hate what I'm wearing, you feel a way about what I'm wearing.
That's the point.
You know what I mean? You weren't afforded the opportunity to ignore me.
Yeah.
You had to address, even within yourself, what you saw.
Right.
And how it made you feel. And I feel that way, especially about things that people, like when people hate Kanye's fashion style, or like whether it's his designs for his brand or what he personally was or whatever the thing is, like, yeah, I don't like it either. Mm-hmm. I like that you were forced to address it though.
Okay.
You can't say you didn't feel anything, even if what you felt was disgust.
You felt something.
You felt something.
You did.
Now, if I ask you, what did you feel about the latest LL Bean collection, and you can't say, or if I ask you, what you feel about like any other, like so many of these other brands and whatnot, I was like, I don't have any feeling on it. It's just, it's utility. They put out some more clothes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. Like, I think there's so much more value in that, because it's not simply about whether you agree or disagree. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'd rather you disagree, because at least then you still have a position, a firm position.
Right.
You know what I mean? And as far as art is concerned, that's all that it needs to be. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, we can talk all night long about how the Mona Lisa isn't really all of that, but we spent all night long talking about the Mona Lisa.
Exactly, because she's a thing.
So it's something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You had a position. I mean, but, honestly, it's like, so you see people walking past each other all day long. Mm-hmm. Like, is there such a thing as a person who doesn't get a thought on what they have on?
I think so. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what do you? So if you were to, well, tell me the feelings you get. Like if you walk past 3 different people, right?
Yeah.
One was pleasing to the eye.
Uh-huh.
One was, she could have did better. Not that you would do that. And one's just, you just look away and just pass and doesn't make a.
Yeah.
What does that? I guess I would want you to explain, like, why wouldn't that person get your attention to even say, "Oh, what she got on," or "Oh, just another person."
Inside and outside of fashion, some people's impulse is to be camouflaged. To like they are uncomfortable standing out.
That's true.
Right? Like, and so, or they don't believe that, like, I hear guys, there's some really, like, interesting things about the way guys interact with each other. Because I get compliments from straight men. So I know it's real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I also get, man, I could never pull that off. And I'm like, you can't pull it off because you don't think you can pull it off. Once you put the fucking jacket on, you're pulling it off. Like, it does, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
You're not gonna walk differently. You're not, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna pull it. If you put it on, you put it on.
Right.
So there are so many people who, their style is to be invisible, to not poke a hole in the universe, to not make a statement. You know what I mean? And for those people, I don't remember what they had on. I don't remember what they put together or how they put it together. I don't know why they chose any of the things they chose outside of utility.
Well, that goes back to what I said, when you got dressed, you knew what you wanted for the day.
Yeah.
So they've accomplished it. You wanted to
they wanted to be
yourself.
Warm. That's it.
And you did that.
Yeah.
So that's a good point to take. I mean, definitely. I mean, you always want to be positive about fashion, period, whether it's quote unquote non-fashion and then it's fashionable.
Yeah.
I'm a really positive person, and I always try to find myself being rational when it comes to fashion. And to be honest, some things are fashion, some things are not. So I can walk past people and I'll just go, yeah, she has on jeans and a t-shirt. Why did that catch my attention?
Right.
I have to ask myself that.
Yeah.
And ask myself, well, would I have ever wore that? Yeah, maybe doing laundry.
Right.
And I would ask myself, am I judging? But once you're in the world of fashion, one, you notice right away.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, but not so much just notice, you're also able to make a conclusion on why people dress the way they dress. And like you said, people camouflage themselves.
Yeah.
They knew it would.
Yeah.
And not even to bring attention to
Right.
themselves. I don't want to bring attention unconsciously.
Right.
I'm not bringing attention.
Right.
Or listen, I was just running to the store.
Yeah.
You didn't want to catch attention, so what did you do? You put on sweatpants and a sweatshirt. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Like, I think that one of the things that turned me off in general is if I can see your neglect or lack of care or effort. Like, if I can, like, listen, I don't want to see the area in which you don't care. If it's your slippers, your pajama pants, you know what I mean? Like, whatever it is, man or woman, I just don't want to see your expression of, I don't give a fuck. I don't care.
yeah.
Because not only is that a turnoff, but it's like the joke. I don't know if you ever heard this joke, but it's like the joke about like guys who wear black Air Force Ones. They don't give a fuck at all.
Wait a minute.
Like, black Air Force Ones are a red flag. That's a flag. That's a red flag.
A red flag?
Yes.
For what?
Yes. For they just
I can see it.
Yeah. Black Air Force Ones mean like you're not this is not a beautification effort. You know
It's
what I
part
mean?
of my camouflage.
This is like, or like stick up.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
So,
But yeah, it's like there's certain signals that we give, and when you're given a signal that you don't care, that's a problem for me.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, some people in life will go, I don't care what I present to the world. I'm just going to do me, right? And it's the way to be, but the point of dealing with our internal conflicts, things that are going on around us. If in the midst of that, if I can get a moment to take pleasure in myself,
Yeah.
to get up out this rut and move on, I'm going to present that through what I'm wearing.
Yeah.
Right? Just because I'm dressed, you don't know what's going on, but
Right.
that's just a step closer to my optimism. Right? And I'll be honest with you, even in fashion, it's a part of my optimism. I love bright colors.
Yeah.
I'm an optimistic person, right? I love to be beautiful, right? And who said that I was being beautiful?
Right.
I said
Right,
that
right.
when I walked out the door today. But regardless of what's going on here and there in my life, I have control over this. And once I understand the foundation of my control, I can control other stuff too. Right? I'm going to control it. I'm not going to let it control me. And I think, and then sometimes that's what I think. I'm a thinker too. I'll see people, like you said, camouflage, and I love the way you said it. And it's definitely a respectable term to use. I go, I wonder what they went through today to put that on.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder what they were not subjected to
Right.
decide that was appropriate. Not that it was not appropriate, but to decide on a beautiful day as such that you would not put effort in.
Yeah.
Right, is something going on.
Yeah.
So because I know that for me, my fashion expresses where I am in life or where I'm trying to be.
Yeah.
It also does it for other people that I see.
Yeah. And I had this realization about myself that helped me to be less judgmental of others, and that I don't have a history of being told by people that I respect or that I admire in terms of their style. I've never been told by any of those people I'm doing too much. You know what I mean? I'm only ever told this too much by somebody who I don't want to look like anyway. I don't ever want to say I was influenced by that person's style.
Right.
Anyway, so you can call me too much all day long.
Gotcha.
But the people in my life that I've had a regard for, had an admiration for, whose lead I followed in terms of style, none of them have ever told me to be dimmer, to be smaller, to step out of their way or anything like that. And many people have had those experiences where they were told to be dim, they were told to be small, they were told they were too much. And maybe that's why some of them developed that style and that prioritizing being out of the way so that they don't come under attack. Because like it's not that, not for everybody, but for many people, it's not that they don't care. It's they don't want to have to carry the weight of what caring means. I got to now I got to have an answer to why did you choose to wear such and such? And if my answer can be I don't care, then the conversation's over.
Right. Simple answer.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But some people don't want to be able to, some people don't want to have more of a conversation around it. Some people don't want to have to answer for their choices.
That's true.
And sometimes the answer can just be, I was trying a thing. I'm experimenting. I don't know that I love this yet. I'm going to go outside in it. It's going to be a real lived experience. Right. I'll know by the end of the night how I feel about it, if I would tweak it or if I would turn it up a little more. Maybe I just wasn't doing enough of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it takes a real a self-confidence, which usually comes from not being stamped down. You know what I mean? And everybody doesn't have that. Many people have been stamped down, have been turned down, have been told to be quiet in their expressions. You know? Yeah. I think about that a lot. I think about that in terms of fashion. I think about it in terms of dance. I think about it in terms of the way we converse with each other. Like, I'm going to be a lot for a lot of people because I'm not scared of a lot of things. Yeah. a lot of people are just scared of so many more things than I'm scared of. And they're not weak for that. That's just what their experience has laid out for them. You know? So I feel like we're necessary. Like, not like on some we're important type of thing. But like you said, prior to Tall Heiress, who was answering this question for tall, long-legged women? You know what I mean? Who was answering this for people who are living this life? You know what I mean? There's so much value in the niches. Yeah. You know what I mean? Definitely. And it's like that's why it's necessary. Because nobody else is going to answer for this if you don't.
I was actually I was filling out a application for some work I'm going to be doing for the Tall Heiress line in December. And they asked a question about what is motivation, or what motivates you in continuing to create what you're doing, like whatever you're doing. And I said, because every day when I walk down the street, I see an outfit on a woman I love that does not come in my length. So this will be this market. Right. Better get ready.
Right. Yeah.
We were, better get ready. And that answered my own question.
Yeah.
Of like, dang, Jackie, what's next for you?
Right.
Open your eyes.
Yeah.
You walk out here.
Yeah.
And see things that you love. And understand that they were never made in your length.
Right.
This is going to be a continuation.
Right.
For Tall Heiress.
Right.
Everything long.
Yep.
Everything long.
Yep.
So yeah, I just definitely think, me creating this line, I asked myself, well, why did I take so long? Jackie?
Yeah.
Because Heiress, I'm so in love with that period in time. Like my daughter, like when Bridgerton, the first series, I'm not into the second one just yet, came out, I was in front of the screen.
Yeah.
The fashion, the luxurious lifestyle. I definitely was on top of that, and I didn't even know what it was with me.
Right.
So the name Heiress, I knew I wanted something royal in my name, and I think my daughter helped me pick this name. And then I came up with Tall Heiress. Now I'm not a Tall Heiress. My tall counterparts are the Tall Heiresses. I'm still Style Heiress. So the name of the brand is Tall Heiress.
Got you. Okay.
But I knew that I wanted to put some type of royalty in my name, so it just ventured off into Tall Heiress.
Yeah.
But it's been very challenging as far as making sure you stay dedicated to the niche. Yeah. Because everybody's like, okay, when you're doing menswear, when you're going to do this, when you're going to do that. Right. I have to be dedicated because as soon as I venture over to do something else, I'm going to get so much feedback. You abandon us. We women, tall women want to feel like it's something out there for us. I mean, I honestly, my immediate goal, I'm going to say optimistically, in a year or a year and 6 months, I want to rent a warehouse floor and open up just tall women department store. Yeah. Just for tall women. Definitely. And I think that would be a good thing to do. I'm not too sure where I'm going to do it yet. I think that would definitely be a good thing to do because we want to feel like we have something of our own. I don't want to have to go into a store and look at it. Right. And put it up here because I'm scared to try it on, so I'll just put it up to my waist. Does this look long enough? Right. It look long enough, then I take it home. It's like, it's not long enough. So, I definitely want to have a department for tall women alone. Right. That they feel like they're included. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Because, like, ultimately, what it sounds like to me is community, like creating community. You know what I mean? Like, so that people know where to go. Yeah. Like, that's what happens when you have community of any sort. When the community, if it's geographically speaking, I know where to go in this community for food, for clothes, for, you know what I mean? Whatever amenities I need in life. Yeah. I like as a member of the Newark, New Jersey community, I know destinations to go to get what I want and need. As a member of the art community, I know where to go to get things that I want and need. It's the same, like we all fit a niche somewhere. Even the people who, fit what the mannequin fits, there's some area where we're a niche and there's a community there for us. And if we can develop community for those niches and show people where they can go for what they want and need, they will go for them. It's not just a build it and they will come thing. But if you tell people like, no, we're of you and providing for you, it's a very different conversation.
It's a very different conversation.
Yeah.
It's very different. I mean, I could be a 5'5" girl creating jeans for tall women.
Right.
What? Okay, well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
But you don't feel my pain.
Right.
I mean, it's just, people want to hear your brand story. I'll go in. I wasn't afforded the luxury of having a long jean. Tall Tina's what they call me. And they literally called me Tall Tina. Like, that's my commercial, but they literally called me Tall Tina. So, feeling the pain of tall women, and now we've adapted. Right? We've adapted. There's a cigarette pant. Right? There are knee boots that come over the cigarette pant so they don't see how long your pants really are. Right. So we've adapted and we think, oh, it's okay. We'll make this work. When in reality, the cuts of my jeans, women are going to have to get used to because we're so used to not having it.
Yeah.
A skinny jean, I'm perfect with. Many are saying, but now you got a bootleg jean that comes all the way to the floor. You can't see my shoe. I don't know how to act with that.
Right.
Because I never had it.
Right.
So now here's my duty of making women aware this is how you can style this.
Yeah.
So now it comes back to the stylist in me.
Yep.
So I have to this niche of tall women that this area that's been untouched, we are slowly getting into it, right? I now have to go with my styling experiences to say and take them step by the hand. This is how you can style this.
Yeah.
You do want this.
Yeah, because anybody who's creating a thing and bringing it to the market that is truly revolutionary or truly servicing people that weren't being serviced otherwise are also disrupting those same people. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we get so frustrated that people aren't diving into our offering. And it's because they're already used to hiding their pants with their boots. They're used to all of the troubleshooting to get around how they weren't being serviced before. You know what I mean? So they have habits now that they have to unlearn. It's like, very true. They got good at it. It's not just that they've had to do it. They learned how to get good at it. So now you're taking away a thing that they're good at.
Listen. And then not only just that, it's like, okay, so wait, now you'll get some, y'all can find a tall jean in the men's section. I've gotten used to doing that. But someone who's coming in and I'm, like you said, I'm disrupting stuff. And I'm really tearing down barriers. Right. So when I may see I got a slow period in the beginning, of course, everything starts off slow. I understand that I have to take them baby steps because now I'm comfortable with wearing my high waters with my... Well, I'm comfortable with, because I was comfortable wearing skirts. I didn't care about pants. So now I got to take them hand by hand, baby steps, and let them know, listen, this is a part of who you are, right? I'm giving you even more confidence. Right. I'm pulling that out of you. Even in styling, when you're styling a model, you're going to learn, or even a photo shoot, you're going to learn the insecurities. When models, they're so beautiful. Oh my gosh, look how she walks. She's beautiful. But me behind the scenes dressing her, I learned all the insecurities that you don't see. But when she's done, I push her out on the floor. You get Naomi Campbell. She's the best.
Stunning.
But you don't know what we just went through.
Backstage.
Behind the stage. Listen. So I understand that. You know, and shedding the light on that, you put it into perfect words. I understand that I am really, really stepping into a moment where women have to learn how to let go of that they held so tight, tall women.
Yeah.
Right? And people might, it's just clothes, but it's so much more than just clothes.
Yeah.
It really is just so much more than just clothes. It's basically in owning your height. We haven't owned our height.
Right.
Because we couldn't. Because we felt like we had to have a pants long enough to own our height. No, not necessarily.
Yeah.
We learned other ways to do it.
Right.
Now there is a pants out there. I got to start over again to figure out how to do that.
Because it's like it's like this duality of having to learn to own it while you have never been able to escape it. You know what I mean? Like, it's always been there. You can't escape it, but you weren't given the tools to own it, to like sit in it and blossom and flourish, and you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. I think it's so dope. And thank you. Like, thank you for not just doing it, but thank you for the conversation. Thank you for unpacking like why this is a real thing in the world and not just one person's, selfish indulgence to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's bigger than
it really is.
Jackie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Jackie can talk to the layers of it, to the nuances of it, to the things that aren't communicated elsewhere. And that part of it is like incredibly important.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity.
I'm glad you came. I'm glad you were.
Get up here and express how I feel about the overall fashion, and then now we start to do the subtitles of jeans and stuff like that.
Yep, because it's all in there.
It's
all in there.
It really is.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate you. That's all.
I appreciate
That's all
you.
I got.
Thanks so much.
My pleasure.